What's going on YouTube? Johnny here, back with another video for you guys. As always, hope everyone's been doing well and you had a great week. Question for you. Are you in need of a quick and easy tasty dinner for a Friday night after a long week at work? If so, this video is just for you because tonight we're making stuffed chicken with some pasta and herbs from a packet as well as some asparagus. So with that being said, let's go ahead and get into the cooking. Alright, so for the ingredients, what we're starting off with, we have our pepper, salt, paprika, onion powder. In this bowl we have mayonnaise and cream cheese. In this one we have chopped spinach, fresh garlic, and then we have a mixture of Parmesan and mozzarella cheese in here. And then lastly we have our chicken breasts, which I just went ahead and butterflied like that, and then we'll go ahead and stuff the chicken later. So we'll go ahead and see in the next bit. Alright, so first what I'm going to start off with is just mixing around the mayo and cream cheese. So I'll season that with a little bit of salt, probably like that, not too much. And then we have some pepper, and that's probably a good amount right there. And then I'll just go ahead and mix this around. Alright, so now that that is mashed, all the cream cheese is mashed up, here's what we'll do. We'll add the spinach and cheese, getting fancy, two at one time without making a mess. And then what we'll do is also add the garlic. And then now we'll just mix all of this together. Well, that's why I have the spatula. So let me go ahead and mix it with the spatula. Alright, so now I'm going to season the chicken, and what I've done is just open up the chicken and I face them outside upwards because we're going to season the outside of the chicken. So I'll just do, again, salt, pepper, paprika, onion powder. And another really cool thing about stuffed chicken, again, you can get really creative with it. If you want to get more of a Mediterranean style stuffed chicken, you can add sun-dried tomatoes. You can add hearts of, artichoke, hearts of palm in there, olives, again, sun-dried tomatoes, really anything. And I know I've said this before, but that's really what I enjoy about cooking. You can get extremely creative, and that's just the fun part about it. And another great part about it is eating the food. So, well, I guess fun if it tastes good. You don't want to eat anything that doesn't. So that's that. I'm going to go ahead and finish seasoning up the chicken. Cool. So then now what we'll do is just go ahead and work on stuffing the chicken. And I can always add more later. But you just want to keep that in the middle as much as possible. And then once you stuff it, kind of spread it out and work it in, what you'll do is just fold it over like that. And then right there, you have your stuffed chicken. Alrighty, so right here, we have the stuffed chicken. So then now, I'll bring you guys over here. So then we have the skillet. And then what we'll do, we'll get that on a nice high heat, or get that going. We'll do a couple of turns of olive oil. That way it just gets a nice coating in the pan. And then I'll work on spreading that out across the bottom layer. And then we'll start... Cameraman slacking. I'm over here. But I'll work on browning each side of the chicken and have a talk with the cameraman about her performance on the job here in between takes. So that is that. Alrighty, so the cast iron skillet is hot now. So then what we'll do, listen to that sizzle. So we'll set one down. There you go. With the assist from the cameraman. Thank you. 2. 3, and I have to, hold on. We'll see. We gotta take action on this real quick. All right, we're back from that quick intermission. Here we are. So we'll do roughly 4 minutes aside for browning, and then we'll stick that in the oven afterwards. All right, so again, you can just check periodically until it's about golden brown, and then that's when you know it's time to flip. So then what I'll do, without turning it into a fail, there we go. I'll just go ahead and start flipping each chicken like that, and we'll do, again, roughly 4 minutes aside. Alright, so then now, we'll stick that in the oven. And the oven is at 425. And for the most part, it's, well, depending on the size or how thick your chicken is, it'll be minimum about 20 minutes. But then again, if you have some thicker pieces of chicken, you just want to go until an internal temp of 165 degrees. So we'll just go ahead and continue to keep an eye on the chicken. All right, so then now we're gonna get started on the pasta. So right here we have our water and butter. We're gonna bring that to a boil, and then we'll add the pasta in there. And it's super easy. Like I said, after a long week of work, the ingredients and all the steps are on the back, or the steps for the ingredients, I should say. So it's not a lot of thinking, so you can conserve your energy if it's been a long week. So we'll go ahead, let that boil, and then dump this in there. All right, so the water is boiling. So we'll add the packets. We'll stir that around and let that cook. And it'll only take about 10 or 15 minutes. So really easy. All you have to do is add, stir, let it cook, and maybe stir occasionally so it doesn't burn. But that's that. And I did forget to mention that you'll want to cover the pan as well while that cooks. And now we'll start on the asparagus, and already removed the bottom half of the stalk of the asparagus. So then now, just to rinse off any excess dirt or sand or whatever it may be on there. All right, so now after rinsing the asparagus, what we're gonna do is just a little more final prep before roasting them in the oven. Is you just wanna gently blot the asparagus, because you wanna take the moisture out, because if you put it into the oven with a lot of moisture, it'll become really mushy when you go to roast it. So this is just preventative and making sure that we don't turn it into asparagus mush. Alrighty, and now for the asparagus on the tray, I just like to make sure that it's not piles of individual asparagus forming a clump, so that way it cooks evenly, and you can season it evenly as well. So then what I'll do first is just do a light coating of olive oil across the entire thing. And then I'll also sprinkle some salt. Probably not too much more than that. Don't want to be thirsty. And then some pepper. And if you want, you can also add some cheese to it, but we're just keeping it simple tonight, so this is what we'll do, and then we'll add that into the oven shortly. All right, so then now, what we'll do, we'll add the asparagus in, and then check the temperature. I think it's pretty much done, especially since all the filling is spilling out, and if you're grading the visuals, or I don't even know, it's not an art project, so don't mind the look of that, it's all right. We like a lot of filling anyway. So I'll just let that heat up and check the temperature on that. All right, so it's a little, my eyes are starting to burn because I'm in the oven almost, but it's approaching 170, so it's pretty much done. So what we'll do, we'll go ahead and take this out. Here we go. We'll lay that right there. I'll leave the asparagus on the bottom rack, that's fine. And here's the chicken, right here. Cool, looking good. Alrighty, so it is time to remove the asparagus. And for roasting vegetables, you want to do it on a higher temperature, because if you do like a slow cook on a lower temp, it'll oftentimes make it softer, or soft and not crunchy. So roasting at a high temp will have that crunch. So these are good to go. And then in this, crack that lid off that because it's hot. Put that down so you get a nice visual of the pasta. And here, stovetop is the spread for the dinner. So I'll go ahead and make my plate, and I'll see you then. All right, this is a loaded plate, but between all the running and then recently incorporating the gym back into the schedule as well, I need fuel for the system. So there we go. All right, guys, and that concludes today's video. As always, thank you so much for stopping by, tuning in, and supporting me in the channel. I hope you enjoyed it. And as I said earlier, this meal is perfect after a long week of work, especially because it doesn't require a lot of thinking and effort. And the most important part, it tastes good. But don't forget to click like, subscribe, and hit that notification button so you don't miss when I upload here on the channel. Have a great rest of the weekend. Have a great upcoming week. Take care, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.